Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. It's me, Mish. I'm the Dorky Reader, and today's video is going to be my June reading wrap-up. It's one of my best reading months of the year. I read technically 6 books, which is great for me. Though one of them I did read partially in May and partially in June. I'm going to include it again in this video because I did read half of it this month and it did end on this month. So that feels kind of like when I'm writing it down in my reading journal, it is included. However, I did mention it in the last May reading wrap up, so I won't talk too much about it. That first book being The Bitter Twins by Jen Williams. I read this in the first 4 days of June to complete it from my May TBR, and it was fabulous. Probably one of the better reads I've had all year. I really loved the story. I love how unique the world is, and I absolutely loved the creatures that come from the God Tree. So overall, I will say that this story for me was 4.5 stars, or maybe a 5-star read if I'm being generous. I'm not sure where I fit yet, but all I know is it's really good. I'm surrounded by cats. You can't see them, but there's one over here, Howl, and there's one over there, Sophie, and she may pan across the cat. Oh, there she comes. Oh, don't knock it over though. Don't knock it over. Oh goodness, Sophie. Okay, there she goes. Whew. She's not the most graceful cat, but that's who she is. Okay, anyway, brief mention for this book, just to get it out of the way. Now, on to my June TBR stack. These are the books I was supposed to read in June, and of these books, I have read 5, and I can't wait to share what my opinions are on all of them. Yay! So on the top of the stack, I have The Lightning Thief. I did read The Lightning Thief. It was the last book I read in June. It was just kind of like I can fit in one middle grade in the last 2 days, and I did. I will say, of the ones I read, it's my least favorite. It wasn't bad. It was a good middle grade. I really enjoyed it. But you know how it's written. It's written for kids. So the dialogue felt a little like, okay, immature. But it was fun and it was funny, and I appreciate it for what it is. In the world of middle grades, I give it a 4-star. For my personal taste, what I like to read, maybe a 3.5 star. Because I like middle grades. But I digress. The movies did a good job because I had seen them before the book, capturing what was in the story, so I kind of knew what was going to happen beforehand, which may have dulled some of the excitement for me. If I had gone into it fresh without having seen the movies, my opinion might have been raised a little bit for this book. But I definitely want to continue on the series. It was a very easy, fast-paced book. They'd be great to slip in now and then in my reading TBR. And then I can watch further installments, of the show if they come out, and that'd be great. So anyway, great little book. I highly recommend. I'm going to recommend it to my son, actually. That'd be really good. Okay, next on the stack, I have Cress. I did read Cress, and I loved Cress. It was so fun. It was quite the adventure. I will say this fits more of the damsel in distress stereotype for romance, because I feel like each book kind of has their own little tropes that they're going with for romance. But also, the adventure was still there. I feel like this would be such a fun movie to watch. The characters are all very lovable. I really love Thorn. I think he's a great character. He's a bit of a scoundrel. He doesn't try to sugarcoat who he is, and I appreciated that. Cress is very, in turn, naive and innocent and very sweet, and she has lofty dreams, and she kind of idolizes Thorn in the beginning of the book, because that's who, she romanced in her imagination. And so as the story progresses, she gets to know him for who he really is, and he's not what she pictured, but that doesn't mean she doesn't like him. She still finds other qualities to love about this character. There's a lot going on in the story. We find Cinder. She's trying to come up with a plan to stop the wedding, but things go awry. People are separated. There's an issue with Scarlet. There's an issue with Wolf. Everyone is featured, and it's such a great cast of characters. So I'm really enjoying the Lunar Chronicles. It reads like a breeze, so if you ever want just a fast-paced sci-fi, YA romance, I highly recommend this series. It totally fits that bill, and it's very satisfying. I give it like a 4-star. I really love it. Maybe a 5-star, because I love to throw 5 stars out there, apparently. That's how I feel. Anyway, I really enjoyed Cress, and I hope that you do too. The next book on my stack is 3 Bags Full. I did not read. This is one of the ones I did not read in the month of June. I wanted to, but there was not enough time with all the others I read. And I had this goal to read 1 book from each prompt, from each kid, because they each pulled a prompt for me in the TBR jar for last time, and they did 2 each, and I wanted to make sure I read at least 1 from each kid, and so I made sure that happened. Plus I pulled Cress, and I wanted to read Cress really bad, so I did that. And then I had time for 1 extra, and then I just chose the one that was fastest, the Lightning Thief. So Heidi won out. I read both of her books. Anyway, here we go. So that was a no-go. Maybe next time. I am disappointed because it does look really funny. Okay, then there's the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook. Of course, I read this. This book was so fun. There's a lot going on in this book as far as the trains are concerned, because this kind of takes place on a floor that's shaped like a giant subway system, but a really crazy, massive subway system with like hundreds and hundreds of trains missing different stops. And in the beginning, when you first open the book, the author kind of gives this thing. You don't need to know where every stop is. You don't need to keep track of things like that. It just kind of plays out. So that did help, because otherwise I would have tried to map it out and it would have been really confusing. But regardless, subway system aside, this book was hilarious. It was so fun. There were some parts, I won't say the details, but a certain character and blood. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. It was so funny to me in a dark way. But it really was. I could just hear the crickets chirping. I love that scene. I love this book. I really enjoyed getting to know this extra character that I don't want to spoil for people who haven't read the first few books. But I really enjoyed getting to know that character more, and it kind of filled her out more as a person. There was also a lot going on in the background that was exciting and cool and interesting. Just overall really exciting, super, super action-packed, super, super funny, just fantastic. 5-star. Love the book. Absolutely love it. I highly recommend anyone who plays video games or board games or plays, I don't know, any kind of role-playing game to read these books. They're so fun. All right, the next book on my stack is The Floating World by Axio, and I loved it again. Like I said, this month was fantastic. I didn't have a single flop. All the books were great. The Floating World, it was so charming. I wanted to see this as a movie. It was a lot of heart-fluttering little moments for me, and I love that kind of stuff. And there's magic and action. Anyway, let me get started. So there's basically this girl character who is kind of living with this traveling performance troupe, you know, like she has her auntie and her uncle, and they basically adopted her, and she's traveling with them, but there's something about her that is different, that is special. She carries some kind of magic that she keeps hidden intentionally, because if it's known about her magic, then people will come after her. This boy character, however, he lives in a different world. He lives kind of in this underworld world where a lot of poor kind of people live, and they kind of mine. It's like a miners community, but they do other things too. And he's like this ex-soldier, you know, who ran away and is just living a solo life, just doing mercenary work or whatever he's doing. He gets hired by someone to track down this girl. Through some series of events, they meet each other, but he doesn't know right away that she is this girl, but they still travel together. And some stuff happens, some past histories are revealed, and all sorts of stuff happens, and it's just really great. The magic in this, though present, isn't like, I feel like it's minimal to an extent. There's like kind of a science-y aspect to it too, so, but mostly it's magic, but it just feels kind of like those things combined make this kind of a unique setup. I don't want to spoil anything, so, but I really like it. I hope you like it. It definitely makes me want to check out the what's the other one she did? The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. I want to check out that again. I started it once, just like a chapter to get a taste. I was reading a couple first chapters of a book to see which one I wanted to start once, and I was interested in that one, but I didn't choose it that time. But after reading this book, I really want to get into it, and I want to read that one. So good job, you. All right, the next book on the stack is Stephen King's Billy Summers. I did not read Billy Summers. I didn't think I would, honestly. When I looked at the stack in the beginning, I was like, that one is going to take me the longest time. I know it's going to be really good, but it has to be at a time when I'm just like, I choose it first, and I go, you know, I choose that first, and then I can get out of the way. But I didn't do that this month, so this is a no-go for this time. Back in the TBR cart you go. And the last book was The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. And this was a lovely book. I really, really enjoyed myself reading it. It was a mystery. It was fantasy. It felt very Sherlock Holmes, very Attack of the Titans, very like plant-like. I don't know how to describe it. Like the world he creates is very botanical. And there's like mushrooms and things and spores, and there's, instead of like the technology they have isn't really like tech, it's botany. It's interesting. It's a very interesting universe that he created. Also, a nice surprise, the male character in this story, the main male character, is queer, so that is interesting. It was June, so it's like I didn't have one in my stack of, you know, an LGBT type book, but I did, and so I was like, yay, all right, cool. But anyway, I really liked his little romance. It was very subtle, but at the very kind of end, you kind of pieced it together. But it was lovely, and it fit his character so well, because he's very stoic and very like put together, and he has to be, because he's hiding some things, so he wants to be as collected as possible. But the gem of this book, even though he's the star, the gem is the second main character, Anna, who is like this wild Sherlock Holmes-esque detective in this world. They don't really call them detectives. There's other words for them, and I forgot what they are. But she is hilarious, and she is so quirky and eccentric, and I absolutely loved reading her. And she swears like a sailor, and it's so funny to picture this character who is, you know, just this older woman who just has a lot of spunk. I don't know how to describe it. My daughter's singing in the background. But anyway, great book. Super fantasy. I'm picking up book 2 at some point. I have to. I want to read lots of adventures with these two because it's so much fun. Also, I want more of this world. I want to figure out what these titans are about, what's going on, and I have this idea. He planted some seeds, and I'd love to see if my guesstimations are correct. If that makes any sense. Anyway, it was a fantastic book. I don't often read mysteries, so it was really great to read this one. It wasn't like a shocking twist. You know, I didn't have like that feeling, but it was really cool to see how she pieced together what she pieced together, and how, you know, she came to her conclusions. And then watching it all unfold was also just fun. Just the dialogue, the everything. It was very well written too. This is a really talented author, so highly recommend. Again, another 4.5 star, 5-star book. I can never know which one to give them. I usually on Goodreads end up giving 5 stars because I'm like, you earned it, you know? But yes, great chunk of books. So I'm gonna put the ones I did read together and hold them up one final time because I thought that was pretty cool. Wow. There we go. Okay, and so the books, I forgot what the prompts were for some of these. I know that it was The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan was a book that turned into a TV or movie, you know, and so I had that one. I had The Floating World, which my prompt was a book with magical creatures. This one technically kind of fits the bill, though it's more like a demon, but the demon takes on kind of a wolf-like shape, and then there's some kind of, you know, science with it, so it's a little tricky. I don't know, it's not quite the same, but I counted it, it works. Then I have the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, and it was a book with the letters O, H, and E on the title for my kids' initials. Then I had The Tainted Cup, a mystery by Emma. And boy, I really can't remember for the life of me how I chose Cress. It wasn't science fiction, was it? Was it a book with something else? Oh, I'll have to look at my video and find out. You can tell me in the comments below if you remember, because I sure as heck don't. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. I hope you had a fantastic reading month in June, just like I did. It was such a great time. Okay, anyway, that's it. I'll see you next time. My next video, I hope to post something out in the middle of the month. My trip, my vacation might be canceled, so I'm not sure if I'll get around to reading those 3 little short trips. It's up in the air. Hopefully I can go. Wish me luck. And I guess see you next time.